Hi goddesses, and welcome to today's Simples, where we're going to be looking at multicoloured dots. I'm going to do mine multi-sized as well, totally up to you whether you do that or whether you stick with one size of dot. So again, I've got the two size dotting tools that I used last week, so my very biggest and quite a small one, and then three very summery polishes that you can see there, and ta-da, of course, the blobbing mat. So what I have done before this video has started is I've applied OPI My Boyfriend Scales Walls, which is my very favourite white polish. So I've got 3 coats of that on, and then I have sealed it with some Posh just so that I don't get any dotting tool indentations. So I'm going to be starting with my very biggest dotting tool, the nice fat one. And what we're going to do first is we're going to go down all the nails using just one polish, and we're going to place a couple of large dots. Some of the nails, if you can't fit in 2 dots, don't worry, but also make an effort to put your dots in different places, because what you don't want is that all your paws are going to end up looking the same. Okay. And then on the last finger, I'm just going to do the 1 dot. Okay. At that point, I'm going to stop. I'm going to take my second colour and do exactly the same thing. And then I'll be going back afterwards with a fresh blob and the small end of the dotting tool to do the small dots. Okay. So as you start with the second colour, you want to be very careful that on each nail, again, you're putting the colour in different places. So if you do one here very close to the first colour, you want to make sure that on the other nails, you do them quite far apart. Some nails as well vary the amount of dots that you're putting on. And there we go. So across all those fingers, you've got a totally different pattern so far, which is what you're looking for. So we're then going to take the final colour and do exactly the same. And again, making sure that every nail has got a totally different type of pattern on it. You could, of course, decide to make every nail look identical, but you know me, big fan of random, so that's not quite the direction I'm taking with this. Okay, so you want your big dots to fill in the big spaces, but not to look super uniform. And again, if each nail looks totally different, that is absolutely fine. Okay, so we've got different patterns then on all those nails, and what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the first colour and we are going to add some smaller dots. So this time make sure that you do a fresh blob. You don't want to go back to the original blob of this colour, because by now it's going to be thicker, it's going to be stringier, and it's going to create a horrible mess for you. So nice fresh blob of that one. And now we move on to the smaller dotting tool. So how I often start is by doing small dots near the big dots of another colour. Okay, and kind of not surround them, but that's how I take my cue. So wherever a green dot is, or a yellow dot, that's where I'm going to be focusing my small orangey ones. Okay, so we're either side of the green there, little one there, and there. generally you're looking to avoid putting your small dots near where you had your big dots of the same colour. Okay, so that's how we're looking now. So back to our second colour. Again, fresh blob of polish. And we do the same thing. So everywhere where there's a big blob in the other colour, that's where we're looking to add the small blobs of this one. Okay, there's not actually, as you can gather, that much to say. Even I'm struggling to keep yapping today, because this is really a very, very simple technique. One of the things I love about it is it always looks more complicated than it actually is. That's always a good thing. If you are feeling particularly clever, what you can also do is you can do kind of gradient dots, which we saw last week on the blog, where it was particularly the fashion polish one, which is one of my very favourite manicures, where across all the 5 nails there are large dots and there are small dots, but they're gradually changing from one colour of the rainbow to the other. Absolutely gorgeous effect. But obviously we're starting off a bit more simple today. So this is kind of the penultimate step. So we've now got our final colour, and we're going to go in and we're going to fill in some of the spaces. And hopefully there will still be logical places to put that polish. What you have to be careful with though at this stage is that you don't go mad with your final colour, because the thing that we're going to do last in a minute is we're going to go around and we're going to check that we've got all the spaces filled neatly, and by that I mean that there's a good spread of colour. And if you think, oh my god, all these spaces, and start filling them with your final colour, it can get a little bit overloaded and not what you're looking for. So let's just do the final nail. Okay, so our job now is to look at what we've done and think, right, am I happy with how that's spaced? And am I happy with the distribution of the colours? If there's any gaps, do I want to fill them with anything else? So I'm now just going to go back to the blobs that I've got and hope I don't make too much of a splodge, and I'm just going to fill in some white spaces that I would rather were not there. Sometimes a lighter touch is better as well, because that will give you an even smaller dot. And it's really just about checking that it feels and looks okay. So, there we go. Looks a bit like Melanie chickenpox. Right, so the final job in a moment is going to be to let it dry and top coat it. And then I'll see you on the other side with the blog post. Simples.